Good afternoon. Dale Carson, attorney, Jacksonville, Florida, author of the book Arrest Proof Yourself, how to prevent you from getting handcuffs and incarceration. I want to talk to you today about something that happened last week here in Jacksonville, Florida. It's a little odd, but I want you to understand, this will help you understand the dynamic about people being arrested and then charged ultimately by the state attorney's office. We have a young man. He is a basketball player. He is up engaging in practice in South Carolina. During the time that he's doing this, an individual gets robbed 400 miles away in Jacksonville, Florida. And as a consequence of that, a display on Facebook, using Facebook now, is done for co-conspirators to the robbery that live in the same apartment complex that he does. Okay, or at least his home residence is listed there. They identify him as being one of the robbers, armed robbers, which is absolutely not true. But that didn't stop him from being arrested and permanently labeled as an armed robber, which has all sorts of implications for the rest of his life. He's got to explain to someone why they made a mistake. And of course, most people, when they hear, oh, they made a mistake, we hear that all the time, and we know he's lying, right? But what happened here really reveals the underbelly of police and state attorney's office. Let me explain it to you this way. The police, their mission is to arrest people, to stop crime, but certainly to resolve crime after an event's happened, to identify the perpetrators and put them in jail. So what happened here is they did that. They did this thing with Facebook. They found somebody, the witness says that's him. And so they, just on that information, without doing any background check on this given individual at all, they went to the state attorney's office. And when they go to the state attorney's office has to file what's known as an information, which is substitute for actually a grand jury. And when they filed this, the state attorney's office is saying, I believe we can prove this case against him beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, when the state attorney says that, it's done in front of a jurist, a judge. And that judge is saying, I believe you, state attorney, that you've done an effective investigation into this, that the individual for whom I am issuing this arrest warrant is in fact the guilty party, right? So the police go to the state attorney's office, a prosecutor, and they say, here are the facts. The prosecutor failed to ask important questions, or if he didn't fail to ask important questions, she, the investigator, lied to the state attorney's office. However that worked out, the salient questions would be, do you know for a fact that this individual is the one who committed this crime? Where was he at the time the crime was committed? Those are all important questions, right? But those questions apparently were not asked because a simple phone call would have identified the fact that he had a hard alibi up in South Carolina during the course of this alleged robbery for which he was charged. So he comes back to Jacksonville, boom, he's picked up, handcuffed, taken to jail, and of course they don't believe he's got an alibi. Why would they? And worse, because there's an arrest warrant, everybody down the chain is held harmless insofar as civil litigation is concerned because the judge signed off on it. This is a serious problem, and that's one of the reasons having law enforcement and the state attorney's office in bed together is a real problem, because to the extent that the police will just take a document to the prosecutor, and the prosecutor, she will say, I'll sign it because I trust you, instead of making a thorough examination, which, by the way, the state attorney's office prosecutors have a duty to do, to make sure that that person is in fact a culpable, a guilty party. When they don't do that, and a judge believing that the prosecutor is telling the truth and is certain that the charged individual is the one who did it, that ends up being a huge problem for the innocent party, which is exactly what happened here. So you need to understand that process. That's one of the reasons that it's pretty prudent that if someone accuses you of something, even though it's not true, you should hire a lawyer to interface between you and the state attorney's office or the police, whatever the case may be, so that we can tell the government that we have reason to believe that you're not guilty, because as it happened, you were in Nome, Alaska when they said you were in Miami. It's a horrible situation because this young man, again, is permanently labeled as an arrested, not convicted, but who's arguing that point, arrested armed robber. Can you imagine? You're driving down the road, you're minding your own business, the police get behind you, they see you commit a traffic violation, they run your tag, it comes back and it says, warning, armed robber on their NCIC return? Do you think that's going to have an impact on how that traffic stop goes down? You bet it will. So these are problems that can be resolved, but you have to act proactively. You have to call one of us, and the initial consult's free. It's not going to cost you a thing to see whether or not we can protect you. I will tell you this. The system does not have a soul. It doesn't care one way or the other whether you live or whether you die. We do. We do not want the government overreaching and hurting you now, today, or your future. If you have questions or concerns about this or other matters related to law enforcement or protecting you from overreaching from the government, don't hesitate to call us. And I know I'm not smiling while I do this because it offends me that they would do this to a young man. And I should smile because I'm happy that you're watching me. You all have a safe day. If you have questions, www.dalecarsonlaw.com, or you can call us at 904-355-6777. Thanks.